While many know of the Black Lives Matter movement from its recent rise in popularity across social media, it was originally created in 2013. It was formed in response to the acquittal of George Zimmerman after the murder of Trayvon Martin. The campaign was co-founded by 3 Black women, Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi. One of the founders, Alicia Garza, was tired of seeing the same old narratives play out over and over for things we didn't create, and wrote a love letter to Black people stating, "We matter, our lives matter." Cullors recognized the power of Garza's words and created the hashtag Black Lives Matter, and the campaign was born. The Black Lives Matter movement is an ideological and political intervention in a world where Black lives are systematically and intentionally targeted for demise. It is an affirmation of Black folks' humanity, our contributions to the society, and our resilience in the face of deadly oppression. The movement's goal is to build the kind of society where Black people can live with dignity and respect. They have 40 chapters in 4 countries. Black Lives Matter organized protests around the world not only for the killings of Black people, but also for some acquittals and not guilty verdicts in those cases which made it to trial. It began to truly grow with the deaths of Michael Brown and Eric Garner. The movement recently surged with support after the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. The Black Lives Matter organization was set in place to counter white supremacy and attempt to end violence inflicted on Black communities by not only vigilantes, but the state as well. The death of George Floyd caused an uproar worldwide because it was a blatant, cold-blooded murder due to the police officers' use of unnecessary force. The worst part about this is that it happens all the time to us, and most of the time, the officers involved don't even get charged with anything. And if they do, the charges are usually dropped or evidence presented is deemed inconclusive. This was one of the many events this past year that have truly opened people's eyes to how Black people constantly get the short end of the stick. Honestly, the short end of the stick is a gross understatement. This is why the Black Lives Matter movement is so important, because we truly need all the help we can get to stop things like this from happening. This past summer, the Black Lives Matter organization spearheaded protests worldwide to fight police brutality and systematic racism. Even though we are protesting peacefully, we are met with needless brutality, such as being tear gassed and having rubber bullets used against us. In addition to that, officers intentionally provoke people to justify their actions. They behave like this and then wonder why many people are advocating for the defunding of police forces all across America. To clarify, we're not saying take all the money away from the police. It would be utter chaos if the police department had no funding. But we can reallocate the money that goes to them for other resources, such as our failing education system, or at the very least, longer training for cops where de-escalation training is emphasized. Just like sexual harassment training, this should be a constant, not just a one-time deal. The Black Lives Matter movement is something we all as a community need to continue to support. We need to keep fighting for our right to live freely and not have to constantly live in fear of being killed for no apparent reason. The name Black Lives Matter simply means Black lives matter because we have been marginalized throughout the country's history, and white lives come with privileges that have always mattered in this society. As Black Lives Matter puts it, the movement stands for the simple proposition that Black lives also matter. Continued community support of the Black Lives Matter movement provides us with the fight for our rights to live freely.